tyre in Parc Fermé has caught fire. Well, if ever you wanted a bizarre day, this is surely it.
Shouted James Allen, the man whose voice is a symbol of Formula One most intense moments. There are few races in the history of Formula One I believe can match the drama of the 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix.
Oh, nasty.
Starting from the drivers turning into spectators, right down to the first victory for one of the sport's young outsiders. This race had it all. Qualifying session proved to be something special from the very beginning. Rubens Barrichello, competing on his home track, faced fierce competition of David Coulthard. Barrichello was only 0.011 seconds ahead of him. Rubens was a crowd puller whose childhood dream was to win his home race. Giancarlo Fisichella in the Jordan car was one of the biggest surprises of qualifying session. In recent years, this team has experienced a big drop in performance. For them, it was a huge success. You might be wondering, but the reigning champion and Formula One legend, Michael Schumacher, ended up in 7th position. The top 10 also featured other big names, Fernando Alonso in 10th place and Juan Pablo Montoya in 9th. Why did such big names take such low places? It's all because of the new FIA regulation. I bet it brought them more money. Let me explain. That day, a heavy storm hit the track. According to the new regulation, you could only choose one tire compound for rainy weather. This meant you could choose full wet or intermediate tires. At that time, there were two companies, Michelin and Bridgestone. So, Michelin customers got full wet and braced themselves to face the most extreme weather. Bridgestone supplied intermediate tires. Intermediate tires meant suicide. Even the safety car had a hard time staying on the road. However, as the FIA noted, the teams themselves decided what tires to take to Brazil. I'm surprised how much they cared about the safety of the drivers. Because of the water flooding the track, the race started with a safety car. There is one important point to note. Fisichella's yellow carpet stops and moves from 8th place to almost the last place, which is 18th. The race hadn't even started yet, so why did he make such a dumb thing? We'll talk about that later.
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
They drove around for ages until the FIA finally realized that people had no interest in watching cars spin around behind safety cars. So the freaking dangerous race began. Barrichello didn't want to lose his advantage at the fast start, so he rallied the burnout. And it worked. For a few seconds, Coulthard quickly grabbed the lead in the first turn. As you may have guessed, the Michelin customers immediately took the lead. Raikkonen was among them, and two McLarens stole the leading positions. Montoya made the fastest comeback, impressively moving from 9th to 3rd place by the end of the second lap. Barrichello dropped from 1st place to 4th, so Brazilian's dream of winning his home Grand Prix was broken. Top 3 raced against each other. The young Raikkonen immediately attacked Coulthard and took over the lead in a few turns.
Hi everybody, I'm Kimi Räikkönen.
The furious Montoya also overtook Coulthard and got second.
Raikkonen forced him into a position where he just had to let him through, but Coulthard's got lost track. Montoya goes around the outside, up onto the wet paint. They're side by side. They almost touch down the back straight, and Coulthard gets out of the throttle. Brave move by Juan Montoya.
See, he combined courage with sophisticated driving technique. That's why he was a crowd puller. As the leaders struggled for the top positions, there was one guy behind them setting the fastest lap record. Who else could do it but Mr. Schumacher? His luck ran out on lap 18. The suspension of Furman's yellow car breaks down. The Irishman hit Panis, and both left the race. Not only Michael was lucky, but Jordan's second car avoided an accident. The debris resulted in a safety car appearing on the track. This ruined Kimi Räikkönen's strategy. The race itself was already impressive. Kimi versus Schumi and McLaren versus Ferrari. The excitement intensified when Montoya bounced and crashed into the barriers. Antonio Pizzonia followed him and crashed into almost the same spot. That third turn was a treacherous one. The streams of water through the track made it almost impossible to stay on the asphalt, even with full wet tires. All the accidents occurred on the third turn. Curva do Sol. Guess who was the next to crash there? The red car hits the barrier and nearly hits a tractor. This incident could have ended his career. A similar situation occurred in 2015, ending up tragically. We talked about it in the previous video, and yes, it was the Red Baron. For the first time in 2 years, he failed to finish the race. As the safety car took the lead in the group, the top 10 drivers were Coulthard, Barrichello, Ralf Schumacher, Webber, Button, Alonso, and Verstappen. However, don't jump to conclusions, though I wouldn't be surprised if he found a way to win that race. The 8th are Fisichella, Raikkonen, Villeneuve. You see, every race delay was actually helpful for Bridgestone's customers as the track got drier. But something went wrong as soon as the safety car left the track. Jos Verstappen became the next victim of the famous Curva do Sol turn. Almost immediately after that, Jenson Button had a violent collision with the barriers. This incident turned into a real disaster, as the wreckage had to be removed and the barriers restored. The crash site turned into an intimidating yet symbolic scene that sums up this impressive race. Right after that, Barrichello was in the spotlight of the race. Once again, he got a chance to fulfill his dream. Rubens had been in Formula One for over a decade, but had never won on his home track. It seemed that day the curse could finally be broken. Barrichello was constantly pressuring Coulthard. It was obvious that McLaren struggled with the Michelin tires. The only thing Rubens needed was to choose the right moment. On the 45th lap, Barrichello managed to get ahead of Coulthard. The 120,000 spectators went wild, expecting a home victory at Interlagos. And indeed, the fired-up Rubens went all out after taking the lead. He completed a lap 3 seconds faster than Coulthard. Yet Barrichello's joy didn't last long.
It's quite cool as well.
Yeah,
Oh, he's slowing, is he?
Yes, he is.
He's slowing, Rubens Barrichello! I don't believe it!
Soon after, on the 47th lap, his car suddenly slowed down and stopped. You will never guess what happened to him. He just ran out of fuel. This guy definitely had no luck. I find it really funny how the drivers sit down or just relax near the racetrack, watching the races. Coulthard kept leading, followed by Kimi Raikkonen. That is, the two McLarens are again ahead. However, don't make the mistake of thinking it was so easy.
Yeah, boy.
They were caught up by Jordan's car, driven by Fisichella. Yeah, that's the same yellow car that made the pit stop before the race started. You're probably asking yourself, how did these geniuses outsmart everyone? The bottom line is that they need to pit, stop the car as soon as possible, and hope that the race will be over by lap 71. Could the yellow car take the lead from McLaren? Coulthard was forced to make his second pit stop, which allowed Raikkonen to lead the race again. However, he faced troubles with the Michelin tires. The constant pressure from Fisichella added drama to the race. Everything changed on lap 54. Giancarlo took the lead in the yellow car. He made good use of the Bridgestone tires, which showed impressive speed. When it seemed that the drama couldn't get any worse, Mark Webber had a massive accident. As a result, his Jaguar was torn to pieces. Incredibly, Webber was not injured. However, the accident left a lot of debris on the track, which created new challenges for the drivers. In the midst of such a critical moment, Fisichella passed by. Keep in mind, there was no safety car, only yellow flags warning of danger. This was not enough.
Fisichella passed Raikkonen. Oh!
Nasty. He hit.
Fernando Alonso collided with debris from Webber's tires at full speed. This led to a head-on collision with the wall. Fernando remained unharmed but sat on the ground near the wall. This incident led to the raising of the red flag. As more than 75% of the race had already been completed and the track was heavily damaged, the race ended. The Jordan team burst into a wild celebration. The outsider, who was last at the start of the race, had won. As soon as Fisichella arrived at the pits, his car immediately caught fire.
The car's on fire! The race-winning car in Parc Ferme has caught fire!
If the race had lasted longer, Giancarlo would not have made it to the finish line. Everything worked out so well. After years of driving crappy cars, he finally got the award he deserved. It was a victory worth honoring. Jordan's celebration was suddenly interrupted. The judges announced that Kimi Raikkonen was the winner. Whoa, what the fuck? According to the regulations of the time, the results should be taken 2 laps before the end of the race. That was probably the strangest podium in the history of F1. There was no driver who was supposed to receive the trophy for 3rd place. Fisichella took the 2nd place, and he wasn't happy at all about the underdog, while Kimi was just happy that he won the race. A funny fact is that Fisichella's winning car was bought by a Brazilian TV presenter. Just imagine, he hung the yellow car in his house. After his death, according to his will, Jordan will be given to Fisichella. Why did I say the winning car? If you remember that episode, I owe you a cookie. The FIA realized that it was the 2nd lap for Fisichella. Therefore, the judges recognized Giancarlo as the current winner in 6 days. It was Fisichella's first victory in 110 races. We would not have witnessed such a chaotic race if not for the new regulations on tires. Yet this was only the beginning of the tire wars. Oh boy, 2005 marked the strangest race in Formula One history. Click on the video to find out what happened.